Good evening. Welcome to our parent session for Schoology and other technology and parent tips in general here in St. Johns County School District. We are so happy you are here. I am Dr. Diane Lawson, and I am the Applied Technology Specialist here in St. Johns County. And I am here with my fantastic team. I have Amanda Bergamasco.
Hey, everybody.
I have Amelia Zukowski. She's
Hi there. How are ya?
and our fearless leader, Kim Dixon.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you or know that you're out there.
And we actually have one more here. She's not on camera, but we couldn't do what we do without her. We have our amazing Executive Secretary, Erica Jackson, holding down the fort for us and doing all the things that we need done. She's saying hello in the background. All right, guys, we are going to get started right away. I will be turning off my camera so that we can make sure we have all the bandwidth needed to get this training to you. All right, tonight we're going to talk about, we just did our introductions. We're going to talk about Schoology student login, Schoology parent login. We're going to talk about what that looks like for you and what you can see of your students. We're going to talk about how to get some Schoology support. We're then going to talk about communication, and then we'll move into Office 365, how you access that and some of the tools that you have. And then we will talk about some tech tools that are available to you through our district. And then we will have several stops along the way for questions. So today we're going to be talking about Schoology for students, and then we will discuss how you as the parent can connect your student's account to your student's account to get communication from teachers and the school. First, in the top left corner of your screen, you will see the link for student login. One thing to note here, I do have a PDF version of tonight's presentation that I will post on the Schoology for Parents website so that you'll be able to have access to all of this information, and it has links in it that you can click. Once you get to that Schoology for Parents page, there are a lot of different resources there for you as well. So the first thing you'll need to know is how your student will log into Schoology, and they'll use their Active Directory information. That's in this blue box here. I'll say the words Active Directory information quite a few times tonight because this is your student's district username and password. And students use this for logging into all of their district tools, especially Schoology and Microsoft, which are two things we're going to discuss tonight. So they need to know their username and password. We also have some parent support videos, and we have our parent support website, which I'm going to show you next. The main difference in how students and parents log in is the web address. Students log in to the St. John's schools.schoology.com link, and parents will go to Schoology.com to create and access their information. So to get to the Schoology for Parents section of our St. Johns County School District website, you can just go to the St. Johns County School District website, which is stjohns.k12.fl.us. And on that homepage, you will see this icon for Schoology for Parents. Once you click on that, you will be taken to the Schoology for Parents page, and you can see this is what was on the page prior to today. And then if you scroll down, you will see the links that are available for you to click on. If you already have an account, you will click on Login Now. If you need to create an account, you'll go here to create an account. And we're going to go through that in just a few minutes. But we're going to start with students. When logging into Schoology, students will not go to that Schoology.com website. They're going to go to this St. John's Schools.schoology.com. You will notice that there are two S's, one for the St. John's and one for schools. So be real careful that you make sure you have both of those. You can also access this from your school's homepage. You can click on Schoology for Students, and that will take students to the district website where they can click on the Schoology icon to go to Schoology. Or students can click on Links for Students, and they will see their school Links for Students page. And here you can see this big red arrow is pointing to the Schoology icon where they would click and see the login for Schoology. Once they click on that, they'll be redirected to the login, this Microsoft single sign-on login page. They will use their S number and password to log into Schoology. First, they'll put their S number, it's S and 6 digits, with the @stjohns.k12.fl.us, and that's their S number email. And then once they click next, when they're home, they'll get this screen and they'll have their S number email, and then they need to put their password in and click sign in. Now they may also be accessing, well, they will be accessing Schoology at school sometimes, and then they'll see this rectangular box and they just have to put their S number and password here and click sign in. So either way, they will need to know their S number and password. Again, this is their Active Directory information. That is obtained from their teacher, and they will have that information for students. If your student was a student in St. Johns County last year and they already have an S number and password, that S number and password stays the same for their entire time in St. Johns County. So they don't need a new one. They will not change their password. They'll have that same username and password. If they start in kindergarten and go through 12th grade, they will have it for the entire time they are in St. Johns County. One thing I do want to mention when accessing Schoology, my recommendation is always to go to Chrome first. Use a Chrome browser because you have your best results on Chrome. If you don't have Chrome, try Firefox or Safari. Those are the preferred web browsers to use for Schoology. Another tip, when your student logs in on a home computer, make sure when they see this message that asks them if they want to stay signed in, that they click no. This will help if you have other St. Johns County students in your home. This will stop their information from being stored in the browser so that you don't get any frustration because one student is signed in and the other is trying to sign in. This is where we see most of our issues, is if you have multiple Microsoft accounts in your home and you're using the same computer and same browser. So you want to click no here so that it doesn't save that information. You also want to click no on saving the password. And these are just tips to reduce that frustration level when working with Schoology on your home computer. If you, the parent or family member, has a Microsoft account that is not a St. John's account, or if it is a St. John's account, if you're a teacher and you have your own account, if you are logged in, even if you log out, sometimes your computer will still recognize your information and you really need to clear your cookies or your cache so that it does not have your information before your student tries to log in. Students may log in on a mobile device, but we recommend they use a web browser, Safari or Chrome, instead of using the Schoology icon. So the Schoology icon, the Schoology app is available on mobile devices. It does not work for everything that a student might need to do. So we will always recommend whether it's an iPad or a tablet or a cell phone, that you go to the browser and you use the browser instead of that Schoology application. Again, my recommendation would be Chrome and then Safari. Once your student logs in, they will see their course dashboard. Here, they will see any courses that they are assigned to. At the top of the screen, you can see all the tabs they have access to. So if your student is home and doing something on Schoology, this is what it will look like. The St. John's icon up here is the St. John's County School District landing page, where you can see recent activity and course dashboard. You can also see upcoming activities or assignments that are due. You'll have your student will have their courses tab, their groups tab, their resources tab, and the grades tab. I will caution you that the grades in Schoology are not the most updated grades. You want to make sure you go to your Home Access Center to find your student grades. We will talk about Home Access Center in just a few minutes, and I'll show you what that looks like. Students also have some other things over here. This little envelope is where they will get and send messages to their teacher. And if they want to change settings like notifications, they can click on their name over here in the top right to manage that. Once they get into their course, they will mostly go to either their updates page or their materials page. The updates page is like an announcement page. It's where the teacher will post announcements on upcoming events or activities or assignments that students will be either completing or information that they need to know. This information is also available in your parent view, which I'm going to show you in just a minute, so that you can stay updated and have a good line of communication with your student's teacher. The materials tab is where your student will go to find assignments, discussions, or things that their teacher posts for information, maybe a study guide. Next, we're going to talk about setting up your parent account. We're going to walk through the steps that you'll need to follow to set up that parent account. Your first step is to log into your Home Access Center or HACC account. Your Home Access Center account is all of your students' information, where you can check attendance, grades. This is what I was talking about. This is where you're going to go for grades. On the far right side, you should see a registration icon. Once you click on that registration icon, make sure you're in the demographic tab, and then you will see your students' information. And right down here at the bottom, there'll be a Schoology parent access code. You will need that code to connect to your student's Schoology account. Again, I often get questions about where to check grades, and I want to reiterate this. It's not in Schoology, it's in HACC. Those are your students' current, most updated grades in your Home Access Center account. If you need to set up your HACC account, you don't have one yet, you're going to want to contact the front office at your student's school to get the information for setting that up. Now that you have your parent access code, you will need to create an account. If you already have an account, you do not need to complete this step. So on that main St. John's County School District webpage, remember I showed you this screen, there is an icon for Schoology for Parents. You will want to click that. Then this page is what comes up You'll need to scroll down a little bit to find this. If you already have an account, you're going to go to this login now. But if you don't have an account, you will go over here to create an account. Once you click on create an account, you will be taken to the Schoology website. In the top right corner of this web page, you will see sign up, and you have 3 options. You are going to sign up as a parent. Once you click parent, you will get a screen that asks you for your access code. That's the code you just got in your HACC account, your Home Access Center account, where it was the Schoology parent access code. You'll put that right in here and then click continue. When you do that, you'll get another screen that comes up and it asks you to fill out your information. You'll put your first and last name in there, your email, and then create a password. You have the option to subscribe to their Schoology Exchange blog, and you need to click in this last box to register, to say that you will abide by their privacy policy and terms of use. And then once you've done that, click register, and you now have your account. One thing I forgot to say here, before you click register, please write down your username and password. We do not have access to that information. That's protected for your privacy. So we will be unable to help you retrieve that information. So please be sure to write down that username and password. If you use your email, your username will be your email, and then whatever password you choose. Now that you have your account, you can go to the Schoology.com website and click login. When you do that, it will ask you for your email or username and password. Once you click login, you will see the parent view of Schoology. Here you can see the courses that your student is a part of. You can see announcements that their teacher has made. If the school has made any announcements, they will be here as well. You can see recent grades and attendance. You can see upcoming assignments for that student. This on the right-hand side is the student view. This is what you will see in the student view, the courses that the student is part of. And on the left is what you will see in the parent view. You will be able to see an icon in the top corner right next to your student's name that is a calendar icon. If you click on that, you will be able to see a calendar of upcoming events for your student's class or school. Right here at the bottom, you can see there are different colors. It's color coded. The orange in this case is your courses. So this student has upcoming assignments. If the school put out an event, it would be in purple. The teacher may also put out an event. Say you have a field trip coming up. Your teacher might put that on the calendar so that parents and students know that that's coming up. If you have more than one student, you can add more than one student. So you would click on your name in the top right corner, and then you would scroll down to add a child. And then here where it says child code, it's the parent access code. So each child has a different parent access code because they're individual students. You're going to have to connect to each of your students. So you would get that parent access code for the second student in your Home Access Center account and paste it right here and click use code. And then that student would now be associated with you as well, and you can see information about that student. So if you have 4 students, you will do this 4 times, and you can add all students. And if you have another one going to kindergarten next year, you'll be able to add them at that time. To see communication from your school and your student's teacher, you will want to view the recent activity section of the Schoology parent page. You can see this is from Gamble Rogers Middle School, and these are some upcoming events that are happening at their school. And the administration at the school posted these on the school for all parents to see. So anytime you log in and your school has posted something, it will show up in the recent activity. This is also where you'll see updates from your student's teacher. Now, I've talked a lot about Schoology, and I imagine some of you may have some questions. So we'll have some time for questions in just a few minutes. To allow you to ask a question, we have created a Padlet. To access the Padlet, you can scan the QR code, which I'll post here in just a minute. And you can do that by opening the camera on your phone and just scanning that QR code. And you can click on the web address. It will take you to the Padlet. I'm going to show you what this Padlet looks like. This is what the Padlet looks like. To ask a question, oh, we've already got some questions in our Padlet. You'll just click on the plus symbol under the column that your question is referring to. So right now, you should be asking questions about Schoology because that's all we've covered. So you could add a question by clicking on the plus symbol, and it will give you a little window and you can ask your question, and then you just click publish. Remember, character counts in St. John's. Please remember to use appropriate language and ask only questions that are related to the topics in general. We will not be able to address any individual or school-specific questions in this session. You can direct those to your school, and they will be happy to answer those for you. So here is the QR code. I'm going to leave it here for just a minute so that you can take out your phone or your tablet and pull up your camera. If you scan that QR code, you will be taken to the Padlet and you can ask your questions there. We will do this several times throughout our training tonight so that you have ample opportunity to ask questions. I will ask that you check the questions that are already posted to make sure your question doesn't overlap with that one. That way we don't have to sort through too many questions and everyone can get their question answered. Again, I will be answering lots of questions about communication with teachers, Office 365, and some tech tools in this presentation. So if you want to post questions about Schoology at this time, we're going to get to those in just a minute. Final opportunity to scan this QR code for the moment, but we will have it up in another few minutes. I'm going to throw it on over to Ms. Bergamasco, who's going to get us started on our communication with teachers.
Hey, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and start talking about communication with teachers while you're continuing to ask questions under the Schoology heading on the Padlet. And I have to say that teachers truly do love for you to be a positive partner with them to support your child's learning. There are some important things that you can do to support the teacher and your child, and those are helping with homework. Remember, teachers send homework home because they want you to be a part of your child's homework. They want you to see what it is that they're working on in school, and it's okay if you help them with homework. Otherwise, they would give that assignment in class if it weren't okay. We love for you to help your child learn the skills needed to manage time and stay on task. A lot of students, grades K through 12, still need support checking that backpack to ensure that it's neat and tidy and organized. All too often, children come back to school, they go to turn in their homework and they get very upset because they truly did do their homework, but they can't find it because their backpacks are disasters. So you know your child best. Ask them to look in their backpack, maybe check it out, see if they need some help organizing so that they're able to stay on task and manage their time appropriately when they're back in school. It's okay to ask teachers for clarification on instructions and assignments as needed. If you're working with your child on a home assignment and you have to work through, let's say, all of the math problems with them in order to support them, please let the teacher know that you help them with their homework. It's okay. That way, the teacher knows that maybe they didn't get all the questions right and that they still need help in class the next day. It's also okay to say, well, we were able to do numbers 1 through 7, but once we got to number 8, we were stumped. When you write that, it lets the teacher know that you did try to do your homework. You tried to make an attempt, but we just didn't understand it. And this is how we were able to get through the problems at hand. Please talk about school matters with your student at home. That way, you know, and that you're on the same page as the teacher and on the same page as your child. Instead of asking questions like, what did you do in school today? Because we know that response. It's a big fat nothing, or how was your day? Fine. Instead, say, how did you learn math today? Or how did you learn science today? That forces then the child to actually think about what they learned and helps them process the information that they did in school that day. Maybe even ask them, go back in your notes and look if they can't remember. Again, it allows the child to process that information one more time. So just by saying, how did you do that today instead of what did you do in school today, it might help open that communication with school a little bit more effectively. And then ask your teachers what you can do to help your child at home other than homework. Then the teacher can be more specific about something that your child may need in order for them to grow and learn. And really, a way that you can do this is through Schoology or through email. We know that Schoology messages and email are often a very convenient and helpful way to communicate with your child's teacher. We have a few helpful tips to communicate through these methods. Please be aware first that teachers get many, many, many email messages a day. If your child's in secondary school, grades 6 through 12, there are 150 kids in each teacher's class. That's a lot of emails. Teachers also have many other responsibilities during their day and may not be able to respond immediately to your message because they are teaching. They're not sitting at their desks looking at their email. If you have a concern that needs immediate attention, like for example, if your child is in kindergarten and you need to let them know that they're not going to be a bus rider today, they're going to be a car rider, that's important. If it's different from that usual way, you should contact the front office and they will ensure to get that timely message to the teacher. Don't count on a Schoology message or an email to get to your child's teacher on time. When writing your email, please remember to identify your child with their initials, their class period. If your child has the teacher specifically, like if your child is in grade 6 through 12. So for example, if my daughter's initials were MB, I would say MB period 5. So that way it lets the teacher know specifically what period your class, your child has their class. Remember, those secondary kids, there's 150 kids. They might not know straight away what class period they're in. Also, in the message, please include a phone number where you can be reached if needed. Also, in the subject line, it's always a good idea to be specific. So, for example, just don't write your child's name in the subject line. Say specifically what your concern is. So, for example, math homework question number 9. And always remember, please don't write anything in email that would violate your child's privacy. Save that for a handwritten note or even a phone call. A huge way to increase communication and involvement in school is to go to parent-teacher conferences. Oftentimes, schools schedule these during the year. Make sure to schedule a conference if your child has special needs and you would like to discuss this with your teacher early in the year. For example, with things that maybe did work the year before and absolutely things that didn't work the year before. So that way we can start the year off on a great start straight away. You also might want to schedule a conference if your child's grades drop suddenly. There may be some strategies that the teacher can share in order to get them back on track. If you suspect that your child is having difficulty understanding the schoolwork, that's a great time to contact the teacher. And also, if your child is upset about something that happened in school with their peers or their teacher. Oftentimes, behaviors can be different on the playground than from in class, and teachers might not always hear the conversations that occur during those times or even on the school bus. And if your child is upset with something that's going on with one of their classmates, the teacher might need to do that, might need to intervene. That way that your child can focus more on school. And if the teacher doesn't know that, there's no way they'll be able to help. Another reason to contact the teacher if your child never seems to have any homework. Now, sometimes teachers don't give a lot of homework, and that's something that the teacher will usually say during Meet the Teacher or during an open house or even a parent letter in the beginning of the year. And then that's fine. If the child doesn't have homework, that's just that teacher's style. But if your teacher's style is to give a lot of homework and all of a sudden your child says, no, I have none, no, I have none, no, I have none, you might want to contact the teacher just to make sure that is in fact the case. And then always contact the teacher if something changes at home that may affect the student's learning. That can cause a lot of stress for a child. And I know it's an uncomfortable conversation, but it's something that the teacher may need to know in order to support your child in their learning to make sure that they're happy and they're comfortable in class. And if you do decide to schedule a parent-teacher conference, here are some questions that you may want to consider asking that will really get results for you in order to best support your child at home. So for example, how is my child doing in math or reading, science, etc.? This is the question that most parents are really, truly very prepared to ask and the easiest for teachers to show their data on. Remember to ask the teacher to explain any assessment tools used to gather this data besides just the weekly tests and quizzes. Also, you may want to consider asking a more specific question like, is there anything that seems to be particularly difficult in math right now? Or do you foresee something that he or she might struggle with in the future? That just opens the dialogue a little bit more for the teacher to be more specific with things that your child may be having a hard time with rather than just, oh, they're doing fine in math. It might give you a more specific answer that you can use to help your child move forward in that class period. Question number 2 is, what do you believe are my child's strengths and weaknesses? Children can be very different at home than at schools. It's important to know the strengths and weaknesses at school. You can use this information to support from home. Teachers can use it as a part of educating the whole child by not just looking at the recorded grades or data. This question then can then lead to discussions on social, emotional, and behavioral feedback. The next question is, how do you prefer to communicate? By email, phone, text, or even through a student planner? With so many forms of communication, be sure to ask which mode is preferred. This will help to ensure a timely response from the teacher. Next, what can I do at home to support what is being done in the classroom? Besides completing the required homework, asking this question gives the teacher a chance to give you ideas that are tailored specifically to your child's needs. The next question, how is my child doing socially? Do they have friends? Do they include others? Are they being left out? Often we think academics is the only thing that matters when it comes to school, but school is so much more than academics. Finding out the teacher's perspective of how your child is doing on a social level can really give important feedback. Not all kids have open dialogue about their school day with their parents, so asking this can be very insightful for you. Question 6, how does my child compare to others on a behavioral, social, and academic level? Finding out where they stand compared to their peers can help influence which areas you can focus extra attention on. However, Please avoid asking about comparing your child to a specific child for comparison. This is a FERPA violation, and the teacher will not be able to do this. But just basically as a whole, how is my child doing as compared to other children in 8th grade? That is more appropriate. The next question, what is being done to ensure my child is reaching his or her academic goals? There are many resources available at school. Be sure to ask about them. This is a way to gain access to technology resources, find out about programs, check whether your child qualifies for services, and gain information on the type of progress monitoring tools being used at school. Remember, you and your child's teacher have the same goal. You both want your child to do well at school. Asking this question opens up the dialogue for a better partnership along your child's educational path. And we're going to share some additional tools throughout the rest of this session tonight. How does my child contribute to the class community? This gives the teacher a chance to mention all the ways your child contributes to the class besides just focusing on their grades. You might find out that your child's a great leader, a helper, a friend, raises their hand for discussions, and feedback on their work habits. Finally, do you have any concerns about my child? This is probably the hardest one to ask, and for good reason. Who wants to hear anything negative about their child? As a mama of one little angel myself, I dread having to ask this question. But asking this simple question opens the door for your child's teacher to mention any issues that might be uncomfortable to bring to a parent's attention. It shows that you are open to hear about ways to help your child improve or topics of conversation to have with your child after the conference. When parents and teachers work together, the results are powerful. Taking an initiative to become more involved in your child's education can start with just asking the right questions. And speaking of questions, Diane?
Thanks, Amanda.
Sure.
So let's go move on to our next slide. So if you didn't get a chance to scan our QR code and add to our Padlet, here's another opportunity for you. I am going to leave that up while I answer some of the questions that I saw in our Padlet. So some of the questions there I had already covered, but I'm going to review them real quick. So I had a question, how do I sign up for a Home Access Center account? Is this hack? This is hack. Home Access Center is the student information system that we use in our school district, and parents will sign up for a Home Access Center account. And you're going to want to contact your school because they have specific information on how you sign up for that. The next question was, can I see multiple children in my parent's Schoology account? Yes, you can. You can see as many children as you have. You just need to access their parent access code, which comes through their hack account. And that is different this year than previous years. We just upgraded the system to include those parent access codes. So you will access those through hack. I know that's a lot of times I said access. So let me go back. To find those codes, you will go to your Home Access Center account, and that's on your registration tab. In the demographics section, it'll say Schoology Parent Access Code, and that's where you find that code. And then you can go to Schoology.com and create an account with that parent access code. Once you have an account, it's really easy to add an additional student by just clicking Add Child. Once you click that, it'll ask for that parent access code. And once you enter it, then you are connected to that child as well. And you can access what's going on in their school information classroom as well. To log into Schoology, that's the next question. How do I log into Schoology? You will go to Schoology.com and it will ask you to enter your email or username and the password that you entered. Remember, when you sign up and create your account, you want to write that information down so that you don't lose access to that. We cannot access that information. The next question is, does my child keep the same S number? Students will keep the same S number throughout their time in St. Johns County School District. Their S number follows them. If they're here from kindergarten through 12th grade, they will have the same S number from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. And all of their student information is linked to that, and it makes it easy for you to continue to follow your students' information year after year. All right. Amanda, did you see any other questions that I didn't get to in that Schoology section?
Hey, Dr. Lawson. Yeah, so we had a few questions. So our first one, this is a great one. Can a child have multiple parent accounts? So for example, can each parent have their own account?
Oh, that is a really good question. Yes, you can have multiple accounts for each child. So if mom wants to create an account and dad wants to create an account, they would both get that parent access code from Hack, and they could set up their own account and they can access it themselves and individually log in. That is a great question because sometimes mom and dad, they want to check it throughout the day. Maybe they don't live together. Yes, that opportunity is available. Any other questions?
Yeah, so is there a way to delete a group in Schoology? I'm not sure if we're going to cover that during this session. That might be more of an advanced one, Dr. Lawson.
We are not covering that in this session, but if your student is part of a group that they are no longer part of, if they contact the sponsor of that group who created the group, they could take them out of the group.
Okay, just wondering, what is the advantage for reviewing the profile by way of parent versus student view for a parent?
Well, we are asking parents to sign up for their own account and view it as the parent because that keeps all student information secure. It's really it violates the FERPA laws if you are signing in as your student, because then that does not keep our student information safe and secure. So parents need to log in with their own information so that all student information is kept safe and secure.
Okay, and are we recording this presentation and where can we find it?
We are recording this presentation, but it is live streaming on YouTube. So you can always go back to this YouTube channel and watch this video again on this is our media services YouTube channel. And so it will live there until we take it down, and we aren't planning to take it down. So you can always come back and watch this.
And who do we call if we have a problem with Schoology in general, and what number should we call?
You would call I would start with your student's teacher. They may be able to problem solve. Then I would refer to the media specialist at your student's school because they're the technology experts within the school. And if they have a problem that they can't solve, then they're going to search out the solution by either contacting their administration, their technology person at their school, or someone in the IT department or our department. So you would start with calling your school. I would start with an email to the teacher or a call to the teacher, and then I would go to the media specialist if that teacher does not have the answer.
Okay, and I'm not sure, Dr. Lawson, on this one. Can you set up alerts if your child's grades drop? So for example, can I have alerts set for any grades below a B?
You know what, Ms. Bergamasco, I do not have an answer to that because grades are housed in our Home Access Center, Hack. It's lovingly referred to as Hack by most parents. Grades go through Hack. And so since I am not a Hack expert, I will not be able to answer that. I don't believe that that is something that can be done, but I am not positive on that. It is not something you can do in Schoology. But again, you're not going to check Schoology for grades. You're always going to check the Home Access Center for those grades.
And that was the next question. Where do we find students' grades? And that is in the Home Access Center, HAC hack. And when will Schoology update with the child's new school for this school year?
That is a great question, and it is currently in the process. So as soon as all of the student information systems talk to each other and sync up, when the schools are finished with all the schedules, then that information will be put out for students and parents to see.
So I know you touched on this one, but it gets a little more specific. So if both parents want separate Schoology accounts, can the student codes be used by both parents?
Yes, it's the same student code, no matter who's signing up. So you'll use that same student code. It's the parent access code, and you'll use that no matter if you have 2 accounts or 3 accounts or 1 account. You will all use the same parent access code. You will just sign up as yourself and put your first and last name, and the other person would put their first and last name. And you would each put your individual email accounts so that when you log in as you, and the other person logs in as them. So the parent access code is the same. You're just signing up yourself, and that person will sign up for themselves.
So here's another hack question. Last year, I was able to toggle between my 2 kids in hack. This year, I'm only able to see 1 child. I tried calling the school for the missing child, but no call back. So who should they call for hack questions? I think we have a lot of hack questions in here, Dr. Lawson. Who is their go-to? Who should they call for support?
So a lot of hack questions I'm finding too. You're going to contact your school, but I want you to be aware schools just started back today. Today was the first day for teachers. So they are in the midst of making schedules and registering students and all of those things. So if they don't get back to you immediately, that is the reason. They are trying and working so hard to get the school year ready for all students and all teachers so that when students walk in the building next week, they are ready to go. And so I understand and I completely sympathize with the fact that you want your hack information and I want them to call you back. But just understand they have probably, for all the students, they probably have hundreds of calls all week long that they are needing to answer, and they will get back to you. If you check the school website, I would say start there, see if there's any information there that might help you. And it is your school site that will help you with that hack information.
Okay, Dr. Lawson, we transferred to St. John's from out of state. In their previous school district, they did have Schoology. We were given a code for our child to register here. However, the account is still linked to the previous school. How do they fix that?
Hi, Dr. Lawson, can I
Thank
take
you.
this one?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Dixon.
Hi, everyone. So yes, I've actually been chatting with Schoology regarding this particular problem. And unfortunately, what the parent would need to do is to contact that previous school and ask them if they would deactivate their child's account. That is, if that student utilized their student number and a password specific to the district system to log in. If the child was using a basic account, just a free account that they were using because the teacher encouraged it, then you can go to the Schoology help page, type in delete account, and find instructions there for how to delete a basic account. So just to summarize again, if you had an enterprise account or the student's account was associated with their student number and password given to them by the school district, you will need to contact the previous school district and ask them to deactivate that account. If it's a basic account, you can go through, search delete on Schoology.com, and it will allow you to delete that account. So that's the answer to that question.
Okay, our next question.
Excellent.
Will calendars update once the school year starts?
I am unsure if that is a Schoology calendar, but yes, if you are looking at the calendar in your student's Schoology account, that will be updated by the teacher as they add assignments and events to that calendar. Or the school may add events. Amanda, while Ms. Dixon was talking, I just got information about when parents can get that hack information. So if you were asking about hack, that information will be handed out by your student's homeroom teacher at their meet the teacher or orientation, which I believe is happening Friday morning. So that should hopefully solve all the problems of the hack, the Home Access Center. So if your teacher does not give that information, make sure you ask for it, but it should be handed out on Friday during that time.
Okay, so what if I'm new to the district? Should the student have their courses in their Schoology dashboard today? I think we talked about that. No, not necessarily, right, Dr. Lawson?
Students will not have their courses in their Schoology dashboard at this time. That usually doesn't happen until I believe the first day of school or right before the first day of school for students. Sometimes it happens a little early, but I would say no, it'll probably be the beginning of school, the very first day.
We have a few more hack questions, but I'm going to pass over those since we're going to wait to get that information, since we got that information alert just now to get that in their child's homeroom on Friday or after. The next one, when I registered, it said my email already exists. When I select forget password, it said to contact support and no contact information was provided.
When you, I'm not sure completely about this, if this is a parent account or a student account, but I will address both. The student account, if you forgot your password, you're going to need to get that Active Directory information from your student's teacher. You will not be able to reset a student account password because that goes through our Active Directory information. And that information is provided to the student from the district. So students, teachers are unable to change that information. If you are a parent logging in, you should be able to reset your password because you logged in with your personal email. And we do not have access to any of your username or password to be able to reset anything. That is through Schoology. And you would go to Schoology.com and you should be able to click on forgot password if you are using your parent account. If you are using your student's account, you will not be able to reset that password. That is a district provided password. That is our single sign-on system, works with that Active Directory information. So students are unable to change that. And so that is not a possibility. So if you get that, it's probably because it's a student account and it can't be changed by the student.
Okay, so the next question is about passwords again, and we just went over that, but they are new to the district. Will they get their password on the first day of school? When do they get that?
Well, that is individual by school. I am not positive, but you're going to get the hack information on that first day when you meet the teacher. You could ask about your student's Active Directory information at that time. It may be provided in the hack information. I am not positive on that, but that would be a question for the teacher on when they are going to provide that to students.
Can parents use the Schoology app?
Parents can use the Schoology app, but I always recommend using the browser whenever you're doing Schoology. Anything with Schoology, I always recommend using your browser. You can try using your app, but like I said earlier, the app is, it's under improvement. Schoology is always working to improve their product, and the app is one of the things on the list of improvements. So we don't have a time frame for that. So until the time when it is fully functional for what I would say we would need, I highly recommend using a browser.
So this one says, my parent access code keeps saying it's invalid. I had the same problem last year and gave up. Now I'd like it fixed. So what can they do? What should they do, Dr. Lawson?
That is an individual issue. If you are having that individual issue, you're going to want to contact your media specialist at your school, and they can help you work through that problem.
Okay, so will students receive their passwords in their homeroom? We already went over that. Will this presentation be available for downloading? Yes, we talked about that.
Well, it won't be available for downloading,
thanks.
but it'll be available for viewing on YouTube.
Okay, and kindergarten Schoology. Do we have to create a student Schoology account for kindergarten students as well?
That's a great question. You will not have to create an account for your student ever. The student accounts are created through our information system, which is eSchool, which is you use the Home Access Center, teachers use the Teacher Access Center. All of that information works behind the scenes. The IT people are always hard at work, and it updates with Schoology nightly. So your kindergartner, once they're registered with their teacher in their courses, that will sync with Schoology, and those courses will be created in Schoology, and your student will be given their S number and password, that Active Directory information, and that's how their account will be created. Now, if you have a kindergartner, you may or may not have a parent access code in Hack at this time. A lot of things are still going on behind the scenes as we prepare to welcome students next week.
Okay, will there be a separate Hack account for each of my children? Yes, right? Yeah,
I believe that is correct. Yes.
Yep.
Each student would have their own Hack account, and then within that Hack account, each student has their own parent access code.
We have a question here about codes for textbooks. They'll get that information from their teacher. We're really focusing on Schoology tonight. Will
Correct.
Office 365 be provided? Hold tight. We're going to go over that momentarily.
So why don't we move forward and we'll come back to questions.
You got it.
All right, let's move forward to our Office 365 for students. So every student in St. Johns County has access to Office 365, which means you as a parent can download Office 365 to any home computers up to 5 and any mobile devices up to 5. To get there are many different ways. So you can click on the Office 365 icon. If it's on your school's homepage, there might be an Office 365 icon. If there isn't, you can click on Links for Students, and there will be a Microsoft Office 365 icon on that Links for Students page. You will click on that. Here's another example of what that Office 365 icon looks like on a different school's website. When you are logging into Office 365, again, students are using that Active Directory information. They're going to use their S number, email. It's S with the 6 digits at stjohns.k12.fl.us. And then they will use their Active Directory password. Now, earlier, I talked a little bit about if you have more than one Office 365 account in your home, you may have issues logging in because sometimes that information, even if you log out, stays in your browser. So you want to clear your cookies if you're using the same browser for multiple students. Or you may want to have one student use Chrome and one use Firefox or Safari, so that you keep those 2 accounts in separate browser tabs so the information does not cross each other. We have a lot of issues when people have more than one Microsoft account on their computer. I've had this issue personally. I have another Microsoft account, and when I have logged into that on my computer, then I can't log into Schoology or my school district Office 365 account. So I have to be real careful that I clear those cookies, clear my cache, and make sure that no other Microsoft accounts are logged in on my computer. So just a bit of advice there. So you'll see the same screen that you did when students were logging into Schoology. It'll be that Microsoft single sign-on screen. And again, students will put their S number with the @stjohns.k12.fl.us extension. Then click Next, and then you will see this next login screen. This is where your student will enter their password. Now, if they've saved their password on the computer or they've signed in recently, it may automatically take them to their Office 365 or Schoology, whatever they're logging into. Then they'll click Sign In, and they will be logged in to their Microsoft account. Now, if you don't have access to one of those links, you can always go to office.com and you can click Sign In. And then if the student puts their S number at stjohns.k12.fl.us and clicks Next, the Microsoft login site knows that it is trying to reach our St. John's single sign-on, and it will ask for their password in conjunction with their username, like in this screen. So that's 3 different ways to log into that Office 365 account. Now let's look at what Office 365 looks like for a student in a browser. So when they log in, they're going to see their Office 365 account. Again, this is my Office 365 account. You can see right here, there's also this Install Office button. You could, once your student logs into their Office 365, you can download Office from there. You can see some recommended things. You can see I was working on some PowerPoints. I can see my recent activity. I can see on the left side, I have the home button. That'll take me back to my Office 365 homepage. And on the left side of the screen, I can see all the apps that I use most often. I use Word and PowerPoint an awful lot. All students also have access to their email account through St. John's and a OneDrive account. We highly recommend students saving items to their OneDrive account so they can access them from anywhere at any time. And then OneNote is another one we use. If students are in any of their Microsoft applications online, they can always click on this 9 dots that are in a square up in the top left corner. We call that the waffle. Once they click on the waffle, they will get another menu here that shows all the different options that they have available. Some of those options are available in St. John's and some are not. Your student's teacher will tell them which ones they're going to be able to use. You can also search for documents by going to the search bar. Students have access to a student email account. It is important to notice that students will need to set up their time zone the very first time they log in. They have an inbox, they can see sent items. If students share documents with each other in OneDrive or PowerPoints or things that they're working on for a project, they may go to their email account so that they can access those items. Microsoft Word, so creating a new document in Microsoft Word, you can do this through your desktop app. You can just click on that Microsoft icon, Word icon, and click Create a Blank Document right here. And then a new document will open. You can type your information, and then you're going to want to save it to OneDrive. This is really important because then students will be able to access it. They can turn things in on Schoology through their linked OneDrive account. So to save a document to OneDrive, there are a couple of options. First, you can click on File, just like we probably most parents remember clicking File and then Save or Save As. It will bring up a screen for you to save that item. Now you have a couple of different locations. You can save it to your PC, but we want to save to our OneDrive, and we want students to save to their OneDrive so that if they're working on something in Miss Jones' class and they go to Mr. Smith's class and they want to work on that same thing because it's a combined project across the different subjects, we want them to be able to access it wherever they are. And they can do that by going online to that Office 365 account. So they'll click OneDrive, then they're going to enter the file name, and they will click Save, and it will save it to their OneDrive account. The other option for saving documents to OneDrive, which is my preferred option, it's quick and easy. You will see in the top bar right here of your Microsoft document, your Word document, this autosave button, and it automatically comes in the off position. If I click it to the on position, it's going to give me a screen that says, how do I turn on autosave? Well, you will click on your OneDrive account, and then it will ask you to name your document and save it. You can see here, I would always recommend that the student put their last name, their class, if it's ELA or math or science, and then if you're in middle school or high school, I'd put the period number. If I was in elementary school, I might put my teacher's name, or I might put the name of the project that we're working on. But we want them to put the information so they can go back and find that document later, or so that it can be easily recognized as their work. If the teacher is trying to look for their document, they're going to have an easy time because their last name is in the name of the document. And then click OK, and your document is saved. We're going to watch a little video about basic navigation of PowerPoint. Let's look at how to create a PowerPoint. So when you open PowerPoint on your desktop, you will go to this screen and then click on New. You can see there are many different templates you can choose from. I'm going to choose a blank presentation. Now, if you are on the web version of office.com, you will have many of the same options, but you may have less options than you do on the desktop version. So I'm going to click blank presentation. I want to add a title. I'm going to call it practice, and then I'm going to put my name because you want to make sure that you always have your name in your presentation so that you can make sure it is always known as yours. So I'm going to see on the right hand side here, I can see many different design options, and I'll just choose this one. It's nice and colorful. You can see it changed the font, it changed my name. Now the first thing I want to do here is I want to turn on autosave because I want all my changes to be saved for me automatically, and I want to put this PowerPoint into my OneDrive. So if I click off, where it says autosave, where it says off, it's going to tell me how to turn on autosave. I'm going to choose my OneDrive account, and I'm going to name this practice 1, and then I'm going to click OK. Now my document, you can see that the autosave turns on. You can see right here it's saved. I can rename it here. I can figure out where it is in my OneDrive, and I can also see the version history. So if I accidentally delete something and I go back a day later and I want to retrieve it, I can look at the version history and save a previous version. Now, let's add a new slide. To add a new slide, we're going to be on the Home tab. I'm going to click on New Slide, and I'm going to choose Title and Content. It already has the design on it. I'm going to call this slide 1. You can see it's already got the font. I can type words here. I can make a list. I could insert content. So that's slide 1. Let's add another slide doing the same thing. Here's, let's call this image, and I'll show you how to add an image. Here we're going to click on this little search. This is going to give me stock images. Let's find a stock image. Maybe I want an icon. I will choose a computer. Oops. And once I type that in, I can see there's these different versions of computers. Maybe I want to choose the laptop. And I'm going to go ahead and click Insert. I can resize this by dragging the corners, or I see there's some different options over here. Maybe I'll choose this one. And there's my image, and it's changed the version of my slide. Now, if I wanted to insert an image from my computer or from the internet, a picture, I can go to Insert. I can insert a table. I can insert many different things. I'm going to choose Online Pictures. We already did stock images. You can also do a picture from your device. Let's do a puppy because they're so cute. So we're going to choose a picture of a puppy. We'll choose this little guy here. And I'm going to do Insert. And it's going to insert my picture. And you can see I can move this picture around. I can also resize it. I can put it right inside the little laptop. Or I can see over here I have some different slide ideas. And that's how you insert images. Now I can format my picture. I can put in an outline around it. I could put a smaller outline. I can do lots of different things here. I can insert many different things. I can draw. I can change the design of my slides. I can add transitions, animations. I can practice my slideshow. I can review it for accessibility. I can view it in different ways. I could make a recording. Let's go back to home. This is how we create a PowerPoint. And you want to make sure it's saved to your OneDrive so that you always have access to it. Okay, that was PowerPoint. PowerPoint offers lots of different options for students when they are creating content or completing a project of any kind. Let's talk about OneDrive. OneDrive, I mentioned a couple minutes ago, it is the place to store all your documents. OneDrive is cloud storage. It gives you a place to save your documents and access them from anywhere, anytime, so that students can start something in one place and complete it in another or continue working on it. They're also able to share documents through OneDrive or through the document itself. They can, when they're on the web, they can create a new document right here from OneDrive. They can just click on Word document. It'll automatically save that to their OneDrive as soon as they start working. Same thing with Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote. When sharing a document, students can do this from the document itself, or they can go to OneDrive. And if they click the little circle next to the title of the document, they can share from the top bar or the little, it's like a square with a arrow jumping out of it. Or they can click on the three dots and click share. They could also copy the link. They can share the document with somebody, but they can also manage the access and take that access away from someone if they would like to. They can also check the version history. So if they started a document and oh no, all of their content was erased, they can go to version history and recover what was erased. So OneDrive is very, very useful and very helpful for these things. All right, we have covered a lot of things with Microsoft as well. There's so many more things that we could cover, but we will run out of time. So I know we have some questions. Miss Bergamasco, what questions do you have over there?
Hey, so for Microsoft 365 questions, will Office 365 be provided or should we buy a license?
Office 365 is provided free of charge for St. Johns County students. And I'm going to pull up our district website right here. And you can go to parents. So this is the main page for our school district website. Oh, you can't see it. Interesting. Let's see. Can you see it now? Okay, you can see it now. Sorry about that. All right, so we'll go to our St. Johns County website. Remember, that's stjohns.k12.fl.us, and you'll click on Parents and Students. If you scroll about halfway down the page, you're going to see this yellow box right here on the right side, and it says Get Microsoft Office 365 Pro Plus for free. If your student is a St. Johns County student, you can download Office 365 Pro Plus to up to 5 computers and 5 mobile devices for free. And the directions on how to do that are on this page. So let me review that one more time. That's our St. Johns County School District website. Click on Parents and Students, and then you will scroll down about halfway through the page, and you will see Get Microsoft Office 365 Pro Plus free. And you can click on that and see the directions for getting that. You will need your student's username and password, that Active Directory information you can see right here on the page. It tells you you need that Active Directory information. So when you get that from your student's teacher, you will be able to download this on your computer. You do not need to purchase a license. It is provided by the district. So I think that's such a great feature for being a St. Johns County School District student. What other questions do we have, Ms. Bergamasco?
Okay, so this is really a great question. Does anything get sent to students via email regarding assignments that are not posted to Schoology? So for example, I have a second grader attending school. I just want to make sure there's not an expectation for them to check email.
No, that is a great question. There is no expectation for students to check email, especially in the elementary. I would check with your middle school and high school teachers just to be sure. Those students are they're getting more training on those Microsoft applications, and our high school kids are getting ready to go out into the world. So they really do need to know how to utilize email effectively. So if you have a high schooler, it's a great skill for them to learn and practice in this safe environment. And that's one of the things that I would be going over with my student, so they knew how to communicate effectively.
And we have one more. I believe we probably answered it, but I think it's worth repeating. What is the Active Directory password? What is that? Where do I get it, Dr. Lawson?
It's a great question, and I can answer that as many times as we need to, because that is probably your most important piece of information for your student, is their Active Directory information. So their Active Directory information is their S number, that's their username, and the password that is provided by the district. And you get that username and password from your student's teacher. And that information hopefully will be handed out at Meet the Teacher, but if not, ask your student's teacher. They will be able to share that information with you. We do not share usernames and passwords through email, so don't ask teachers to share it that way. That information is very secure, and we don't want anyone to get a hold of it. We want your student to protect that information. And so we want to teach them that at an early age, that they want to protect all usernames and passwords to protect their account and their information. So again, your Active Directory information, that's the S number and password. They're going to get that from their students, from their teacher. Your student is going to get it from their teacher. Again, S number with 6 digits after it, that's their student number. And then their password could be, a lot of them were animals with numbers, but I think we may have run out of animals, so they might have some other words in there. But again, you will get that from the student's teacher, most likely their homeroom teacher.
So that's it for our Microsoft 365 questions. Dr. Lawson, we do have other questions, but I think we should hold on to those until the end, since we only have about 12 minutes left, and we have a lot more awesome information to share.
We do. I agree. I think we are going to move on, and then we'll have that extra time at the end for the rest of those questions. So one more piece of advice on Microsoft is to make sure that your student signs out of their account. Every time they go in, they should learn to sign out. And to do that, in the top right corner, you will see your student will either have their initials here, or if your student has already been in Microsoft Office and they have learned how to set some things in there, they might have an icon or a picture here, but it's going to be this circle in the top right corner. When they click on it, they're going to see My Account, and then they're going to go down here to Sign Out. Once they click Sign Out, they will have signed out of that Microsoft account, and they'll want to exit out of their browser tab. This is so especially important with for families with multiple student accounts, multiple students in the house that might access this. Again, I've given some strategies, but I could recommend using different browsers for each student. But the most important thing you can do is teach your student to sign out correctly so that they can, the next person who uses that computer can access their own account and not your student's account. Especially at school, we want to teach them to sign out. Again, that goes back to student privacy and protecting their information. All right, we have some great tools. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Zukowski right now.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to talk to you guys about 2 helpful district resources that will help students and parents have a successful school year. The first resource I'm going to cover is Teaching Books. Teaching Books has more than 250,000 resources for children and young adult books. Teaching Books is a district-provided resource that introduces children, students in high-interest books, authors, and teachers and students to pronunciations of names. It gives book guides, learning activities, and it has audio excerpts of books. For students, it's easy. In the upper right-hand corner, they would click For Students to log in. When they get to the login screen, they would simply click on the password and enter St. John's. They would leave the username blank. I'm going to leave this screen up here for a moment so that you can write this information down. But the URL is teachingbooks.net. The username is blank. And the password is St. John's, and there's no capital letters. Okay, when students get into that student access, they will have access to a homework helper, information on new books, authors, help with book reports or projects, and fun reading games. Teaching Books is a great tool to engage kids with reading. So get them involved and get active in reading. The next resource we're going to talk about is Tech Talk. Tech Talk is a database that will allow you and your student to have access to articles, videos, helpful resources on how to communicate and utilize technology to excel. The database provides information for all levels of users, from beginners, intermediates, to advanced. To access Tech Talk, it's really easy. Go to tech-talk.com. To log in, you would simply put in the username SJCSD, and the password is SJCSD. They have a great newsletter, and it has great weekly tips for helpful tools for novices to experts, and it's easy to understand. Sign up for the newsletter with your email, first name, and last name. The newsletter will give you weekly tech tips on technology and communication skills. This tool has endless tips, communication skills, professional tips, and leadership advice. Thank you, guys. It's been great having you here.
All right, that is the end of our presentation. We do have some more time for questions. So I am going to ask Ms. Bergamasco what questions she is seeing.
Okay, so under tech tool questions, we did get the question, should students bring their own computers to school?
That is a great question. Ms. Dixon, are you still on?
I am. I just had to find the unmute button. I'm so sorry. It took me a minute this time. All right. And so should students bring their own computers to school? And the answer to that question is it depends on your child's school and your child's teacher. We are a bring your own device district. And so we do encourage our teachers to utilize technology in the classroom. And because we are a bring your own device district, students may be able to bring that device to utilize in class with the teacher that requires it or asks for it or allows it. Be sure to check with your child's teacher regarding their specific policy and ensure that you and your child have signed the AUP or acceptable use policy agreement that is included in their materials in order for that device to be approved for that student to have on campus. So the answer to the question is yes, as long as your child's teacher allows it and you have a signed AUP on file.
Thank you.
Okay, so it looks like we have about 5 minutes left for questions. So I'll go back to the Schoology questions, Dr. Lawson, and see if we can finish some of those up. There are a lot. I have my child's not social security number. I have my child's S number and the email. Create new single sign-on login for student login says I cannot use the school or office email address. What am I doing wrong? I signed in as a parent in Schoology using parent access code. Now I'm signing up as a student into Schoology using the same access code and it doesn't work. What should this parent do?
Well, the first thing is stop. You are not going to sign your child up for Schoology. They will be signed up automatically through the registration at their school. So do not sign up your student for Schoology. You won't be able to link to our school district that way. I don't even think Schoology is offering free accounts anymore. So do not try and sign your student up for Schoology. They are automatically signed up for Schoology because they are a registered student in St. Johns County School District. And everything in Schoology is connected to our Student Information Center. So whatever their courses are in our HAC, our Home Access Center, our e-school system, that links up with Schoology and they are automatically put in those courses. That has not shown in Schoology for students at this time. And after school starts, you will be able to see what courses your student has. But at this particular point in time, that is not updated on the Schoology website. So do not try to sign your student up. That will not work. They will automatically be signed up.
Okay, I see both of my kids in Schoology, but only one is in HAC, so I can't access their schedule. The school hasn't been able to get back to me. Any ideas? I have documentation of registering them both and submitting immunization records. Thanks.
So some schools are still working on registration and scheduling. So you might be having issues getting into HAC because your students not anything to do with you not having done your registration properly. That it might not be something that you could have controlled, but they are very busy. Some schools have had an enormous growth, and so they have a lot of students getting added. So that person at that school is working so hard to get all those students registered and scheduled. So if it's not in there, I would keep checking back. And at the end, by the end of the week, you should be able to access Hack. If not, when you go to the school for meeting the teacher, they will be able to help you make sure you know your student's schedule and how to get into that home access center. But I will say, I know some schools are still working on those schedules. And so that could be why you are not able to get into Hack right now, because there's nothing, the things are not complete on the school's end. So just know they are working to get everything entered as quickly as they can.
Okay, so Dr. Lawson, one person said everything in Schoology is empty. Is that just because school hasn't started yet? Could that be the case?
That is exactly the case. School hasn't started, so your students' Schoology is going to be completely empty. You are not going to see anything. And we check it constantly because we want to make sure everybody has access. And so those things are not updated in Schoology yet. Again, that is all tied to those scheduling and registrations in our student information system. So once everything is finalized there, those courses will then link up with Schoology, and you will be able to see the courses your students are registered in, and so will your student. And until those systems are complete and talk to each other, that Schoology account is probably going to be empty and you're not going to see anything. So hold tight, be patient. I know it is hard. I am a parent. My kids are both grown, so I don't have to go to a learning management system to find information about them, but I also can't find information unless they tell it to me. So hold tight, be patient. I realize it's hard, but we are going to get there.
Dr. Lawson, the time is 7:30, and we appreciate all of the questions that you were able to answer tonight. We do have a few more, but in looking at them, the biggest thing that I can probably tell these parents that are asking these questions, and we appreciate you all so much, is to go through your child's teacher first for any information or any questions that you have.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bergamasco. And thank you all for being here. We appreciate you so much. We're so glad that we could offer this session and that all of you could attend and get this information to start the school year on a great foot. And hopefully we can provide more of these in the future. And please look for a survey in your email following this session later this week. All right, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Bye, everyone. I don't know where I am on here. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great night.